That was your cue, Marco. I don't just do this to you guys to hang out.
Oh, dude, I was waiting for the cue.
That was the cue. The cue was me bowing. My liege, the show has been prepared.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I'm a film student. I'm used to 3, 2, 1.
What, you don't prefer the curtsy to start our shows?
No. Maybe the clapper next time.
The clapper. They can hear the clapper.
But that's a good way to start it. It's like a punctuation. Let's go.
Yeah, headphone listeners are gonna hate that I do that. I didn't even do it that loud. Ow, my hands. I haven't clapped in a year. What if I applauded in a year? Everything's been miserable. Marco, what's the
Army of the Dead?
Applause? I was watching that in my underwear at my house. I don't applaud for anything in my underwear at my house. Not even women.
That's bad.
Yes. Right. Do you applaud the women in your life? Like, great job. You did a great job. That was a good.
In my underwear, then it could be things like, "Oh, you brought me pancakes. Thank you," or something. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody loves me that much. All right, Marcos. I don't know what that feels like to feel the warmth and love of another person bringing me pancakes.
Bro, you're 35. Someone would love you that.
Shut the fuck up. 35. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I was made the most delicious cupcakes. I know this is not the show that we're supposed to be doing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mongrel Radio. It's Marco's show, but I just want to get into it. But no, my first girlfriend made the best cupcakes in the world, and I still miss those cupcakes. I don't miss her, but I miss those cupcakes. They were fucking amazing.
I don't know, man. Every time you say my first girlfriend, she sounds pretty cool.
She's pretty fucking cool. No, she, like, honestly, in retrospect, it's like, damn, she was cool. It would have never worked. She was a punk rock girl from K-Town. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. But she's an amazing baker, and I miss those cupcakes. Horchata cupcakes. How do you put a drink into a cupcake? She did it. Yeah, it's really good. She made me an Assassin's Creed logo out of cupcakes, dog, because that was my shit back then. That's how long it's been.
Bro, that's totally worthy of a pause. I don't know. It's
well, that was like 17 years ago. I haven't clapped since. All right. All my other girlfriends have been whack. I'm kidding. It's like only a handful of people, and fuck them. I don't talk to them no more. They're never gonna see this.
Oh, but when I make fun of them.
Hey, man. It's like the N-word. You can't say the words. Only we can say the words. And it's only me because I had to deal with their bullshit. Unless there's other people that broke up with them, and then I got a brotherhood with them, and we could talk shit. Otherwise...
okay, well, that's coming.
I'm just saying. There's a coven of women that hate me, and they can talk shit about me all they want. Coven is appropriate, right? Is that bad? Or is that witches?
It makes really badass. Like, I just imagine them like in this dark room with a bunch of candles, like burning your pictures.
Yeah, a group of I didn't even mean it, but yeah, a group or gathering of witches who meet regularly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not calling them witches, but I guess I am. They were all kind of witchy. They're all kind of gothy emo type. So it works out. Point is, it's not about my love life. It's not about whatever the fuck we were talking about moments ago. It's about our rights as Americans.
Wait, it's kind of funny that I've been letting so many people guide my hips for the last month and a half that it's like, all right, this is Alyssa's topic, this is Sam's topic, this is DJ's topic, and this was Tommy's topic for like the third time, and he's gone. But yeah, I guess in general, he wanted to talk about how much harder it's going to be to vote in 2022. And there's a lot. It's a very stacked deck, honestly, the way it's looking right now. Mostly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'd like to start with the simple thing. I mean, just pitching the ball to Alyssa, asking. I mean, how are you doing registering people to vote? I mean, how's it been going this year? I know you're just your feet on the ground.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, it took me a minute to kind of look at what's happening overall, like just kind of stepping away from like local politics and like looking at like what's happening at the state and stuff. And there's a lot happening. I'm actually really glad that this is our topic because I actually took notes on this for work a couple of days ago. So when Sammy brought it up, I was like, yes, I'm prepared.
Actually, and what prompted me to say that was, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about today. So, so we lucked out as a whole.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this topic was supposed to be last week, right as the Democrats failed to pass the For the People Act.
Yeah, so a lot has happened since then, actually.
Failed to pass the insert blank here? Yeah, you're right. The filibuster must live on, you fucking moron. Anyway, Alyssa.
It's a dogfight, honestly. But I like. Can we start off with like maybe like a fun like fact of the day? Like
Please.
so,
Please, I've been talking about my dating life and Harry Potter for the last 20 minutes. I could use some good in my life right now.
So today in history, 50 years ago today, the 26th Amendment extended the rights to vote to anyone over 18.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also today, maybe not in history, but actually happened today, the Supreme Court actually voted to uphold the GOP's voting restrictions in Arizona, further weakening the...
Wait, the Supreme Court said that? They were fine doing whatever the fuck they're doing in Arizona, which is, if you ever are wondering what they're doing in Arizona, it's usually wrong unless you're the Phoenix Suns. But
yeah,
Arizona's a fucking dumb state, and if you live there and you're watching this show and you like us, I'm sorry, and if you hate us, fuck you. Arizona's a waste of life.
Every place is good and bad people, but that being said, just to focus...
There's like 10 people in Arizona. They're either good or bad. It's a very small sample.
God damn it, you threw more in there. But it's just good or bad. Like when it comes to the Supreme Court is very hands off on a lot of this shit. That's why the For the People Act might have been challenged even if it had been passed, because that would put federal rules into voting. And I mean, I don't know how you can pitch an easier softball to Republicans that they didn't go for. There was a literal voter ID law in the For the People Act, despite all the other rules that they were trying to put in.
Yeah.
They need to make a uniform. They need to. The federal government needs to step in with this bullshit. We need... I wish I could say bipartisan, but it's not going to ever happen. So
no, it's a dogfight right now.
So the good guys need to say, hey, everyone gets to vote, even criminals and felons and stuff like that, unless like...
A couple of those need a couple court cases and laws, because there's already... if right now, if it's illegal for a convict vote, so to say, you can't just...
But Florida undid that for their state.
Well, that's the weird thing about Florida that is hardcore Trump country, is they're super progressive in other ways. They also passed $15 minimum wage.
Right. But the idea is if we know that there's a problem, which is definitely at this point the conservative party, if you can even call them that. Let's call them Republicans just to be fair. They're going to try to steal it. They want to steal it, and they want to keep power, and then they want to make money, and that's it. And they don't fucking care anymore. And that's fine. That's fine that they're being honest about it, but we need to stop them. And the federal government needs to step in. And I'm not one for like, oh, government needs to control everything. But you also have to be fucking reasonable, people. When left to your own devices, these people are stupid. You got to realize people are stupid. I'm talking about me, all y'all out there watching. Not these two. They're smart. But... including governments as well. Governments are conglomerates. Oh, that freaked me out. Conglomerates of people. And they're prone to mistakes, and they're prone to sway. So if you're prone to mistakes, prone to being swayed either one way or the other, then you're going to do things that are not in your constituency's best interest. So even the federal government is the same way, but because it is a United States, you can find several of the heads of these places to figure out the best way to get people to vote, which at this point it's if they vote, they're going to vote Democrat, and then Republicans will never win again, which is why Republicans don't want people to vote. Because it shouldn't be a fucking issue of people voting. It shouldn't be. But they want to make it an issue because they're going to lose forever and eternity until the Democrats split off into their own things, and then the traditional Democrats become the conservative Republican Party as we know it, and then the super liberal side, the Bernie Sanders side, is going to make its own traditional Democratic Party, like the FDR Democrats, and then I think that's how the split goes. I think Republicans die, Democrats split, and then the Democrats that we know now, the Bidens and stuff, they are now the new conservative party, and then you got the crazy jackos that will die because they'll be elderly.
Well, I mean,
I love the whole 20-year plan.
That's the thing. things rise and fall all the time, and we're very close to falling.
I mean,
but it's old people that are trying to make it fall, and so they're gonna die in 20 years anyway.
Yeah, all of it. I mean, it's messy. It's messy because we, as a country, technically are way too big. Like, we're huge, and it starts going into state rights, which is like everything that we're seeing now. Like, yeah, things are happening at a federal level, but things are also happening at a state level. Texas and Arizona aren't the only ones who brought up these, voting violations, and the Republican Party's been after this doing this for fucking years, like with gerrymandering and, redistricting and things like that. And now I think what we're seeing is just like the ripple effect of like what happened with like just kind of like the last shitstorm of the fucking Trump administration, because everything that's, all the House bills and everything that are in, going through court right now, all have to do with the fucking results of the election. Even though, federally courts, just said that like there was nothing wrong with the election results, Biden winning and things like that. But, and you have states like Pennsylvania, who I believe their governor vetoed their House bill, which was that their House Republicans had put out, and he vetoed that shit. He was like, nah, we're not going to do this. But you have states like Texas, and here in Texas, it's a fucking shitstorm right now. The Democratic Party suing Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott cut funding to like all the staffers with it. It's just a fucking mess. It's a dogfight, really.
I mean, it's kind of funny to say that I was actually proud of that kind of resistance that was thrown up at the end of that Texas House session.
Yeah, the legislator, because he's a fucking crook. He's a fucking crook, and he's doing whatever the hell he wants, because as long as he does whatever the hell he wants and it makes it sound like he's doing something for his constituency, then they'll vote for him again. One of the dumbest things that I realized here in Texas that's different than voting in California, at least to my recollection, at least Fresno County, Santa Barbara County didn't have, was that there's a vote by ballot line, which is like, I want to vote all Republicans. It's a button on top on the machines here. That doesn't exist in California, at least in the counties that I voted in. That to me is like, oh yeah, you just have to have the R next to your name and you're good. Old people can press the one button. They don't have to use their brains to click or make any decisions, and that's it. So that's already in their favor. Ted Cruz is an embarrassment, and y'all love him. And I say y'all because I say you're Texans, and so I make sure that I guilt all Texans that Ted Cruz is your representative and is the best representative of Texas that to offer.
Bro, isn't your representative literally a conservative? Like, the dude is Republican. That's your state congressman. In your House of Representatives.
Are you talking about? Ted? No. We have Nunez.
It's Nunez.
Nunez is but that's there's like 1,000 of them in California. There's a bunch of fucking representatives. I'm talking about senators. I'm talking about senators. Oh, my county's a piece of shit. You're not wrong, Marco. My county's a Republican awful piece of shit. I get that. We moved on up to the north side and then are surrounded by Republican piece of shit. But
so I'm gonna put a pin on this, because this is literally our second from now Mexican podcast, which is it's all based around Ronald Reagan's speech where he's like, Hispanics are Republican, they just don't know it yet, and we're seeing it. We're both seeing it in both our neighborhoods.
Here's something that I read today, actually. Oh, maybe it's the same thing?
I was going to say we can save it for when that topic comes up.
I'll just say it and I'll drop it, which is if you were Latino and had a college degree, it was like an 80% you voted for Biden, and then if you did not have a college degree, you voted for Trump at a higher percentage. I forget what, though. But as I mentioned on our YouTube channel, folks, we don't fact check live. So if we get it wrong, we get it wrong forever. So, Marcos, I'll throw it back to you.
Well, I mean, it's just, we do know that these laws are going to pass. Actually, California proposed 4 voter ID laws. I don't know. They're not going to go anywhere because of how blue California is.
Right. Well, they're trying to recall the governor there, so they're doing all sorts of nonsense there. They're just... You
can recall the governor in California and still have a Democrat come back.
Yeah, but it's all smoke and mirrors in California. It's just all show. Devin Nunes is the leader of all that bullshit, and he's a dumb idiot, so nothing really to be afraid of there.
But overall, it probably won't happen in California, but it doesn't matter in California. It doesn't even really matter in Texas for a little bit. It's going to be red. You're going to be blue. But it matters in a lot of battleground states. That's why we got what happened in 2020. That's how Biden won so narrowly. In those places where it's a battle or it's a dogfight, like you said, they are going to pass these laws that are going to make it harder to vote. It is going to take, and it doesn't matter whether you win or not. Like in Texas, we're winning right now. They didn't pass it. In Georgia, they lost, but it's just coming. It's a death rattle. And you're going to have to expect it. And there's all sorts of dumb things in it. Like I know in Georgia, it's now illegal to pass out water.
Which,
like if you're,
which I'm going to go get arrested for that. I'm going to go pass out water. And
you're going to go to Georgia just to pass out water.
Yeah. Why the fuck not? I don't care. Like, look it. If that's on my,
no, I'm not saying.
I'm just saying if I ruin my permanent
I'm
record.
about the idea of like going to Georgia.
If I'm going to ruin my, if the Mexcellence goes big, I need a mugshot for our cool T-shirt. So. If I get a mugshot, it's going to be for me passing out water in Georgia to voters. I'll vote early in Texas. I'll say my foot hurts or something. I'll lie. I don't care. They have weird laws about voting absentee because they're assholes. But I'll go to Georgia, and I'll go pass out water, and they can arrest me. It's fine. It's the dumbest law I've ever heard of in my fucking life. Dumber than that one state that you can't have one hamster because it would get lonely. That's a law in one of our states. I forget which one.
But so on that note, it was weird that
on that note, shut up, Marcos. On that note, whatever
flipping
the
it.
fuck that was.
So Georgia added a week to early voting, I think, but they lowered the hours. It's something like it's almost exactly 9 to 5. And it's
right.
Like, oh, yeah. It's like this didn't really expand anything.
Right.
And then I actually don't have a really strong feeling about voter ID laws one way or the other.
I do.
Just because most people have them, except for people on reservations I know don't have them. Right. Because they don't have real addresses that can be verified.
Right.
I know that from writing insurance.
Right. Yeah, that's bullshit. But, so, go ahead, Alyssa. I'll let you take the start on this one.
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Marco said, yes, it is, people who are on reservations, it's felons, it's, undocumented people who come from Sudamerica and from Mexico and things like that. And it's just kind of chipping away to where it's like, yeah, only a white man with land can vote again.
Right. Right. And the other thing is that we already know how difficult, one, with the pandemic, to get an ID is now. Like, everyone's scrambling to get their stupid star, like the new real ID that they have for travel. It's like my folks are just like retired and they're just kind of like older people. And they're like, yeah. My mom's like, yeah, your dad has to go get his real ID, so he has to go find his birth certificate. He's got to go find this shit. He's got to go find that shit. That takes time. They're retired. They got the time. If you got 2 jobs, you don't got the fucking time. If your DMV's open from 11 to 3 and you work 18 hours a day, you're never going to be able to do it. You're never going to be able to do it. And nor are they expanding any reason or way to get your ID online, because with the new ID, the chip, they need to get all those documents. So if it was equitable that everybody could get an ID, or it was easily accessible, or that you can get a specific voter ID when you register, and that can verify, you bring in some document, a bill or something, and you do it beforehand, and they mail that shit to you, cool. But they're never going to do that because the Republicans don't want that to happen, and then the Democrats don't think that far ahead.
Well, what you're talking about is the voter system that's in place must have, when you register to vote, that's what it is.
Right, you get a little yellow card, but like some states don't even have that barely. Like Georgia, I think, if I'm not mistaken, some parts of Georgia or one of the southern states requires you to have like a state ID to vote, and that's bullshit because you need, like you said, Alyssa, you need an address to have a state ID. You can't have a P.O. box for a state ID. You can't, you can't make that shit up. And there's certain places where it's like they're in the sticks, so they have to drive to town, get the appointment or whatever, and it's a big pain in the ass, and it's not equal. There's no equal way to do it. So, and no one wants to make it equal. They don't want to make the election a national holiday. They don't want to do that shit.
I actually do think the For the People Act, it did have a lot of weird things, but it was trying to make it equal by what both sides care about. Like, it did have an ID law in it. Yes, it did. But it was trying to address all the other issues. Like
a power bill would have been enough to prove you are a citizen or whatever, right? It was shit like that where it was real easy. Like something, everyone has a power bill if they have a house or we're renting, So
just on the subject of IDs, and this has nothing to do with voter laws or voter rights, and I apologize, but just to touch on it. So not having IDs is one of the biggest like factors in houselessness when it comes to people, because let's just say, you know, you are houseless for a while and, you know, you're trying to either get a job or you're trying to apply for housing, anything, you need your ID, right? The only reason, or at least here in San Antonio, the ID recovery was in the police station. So if you're a houseless person that has warrants or, you know, is just wary of the police overall, you're not going to go to the police station to do the whole process of ID recovery. Right. So it's just like a whole catch-22, you know, when it comes to like having an ID. And I just wanted to like throw that out there.
But here's the thing, Alyssa, we don't care about homeless and voting. We only care about people of color voting. I'm kidding. No, but people often don't think about that. Yeah. People don't think about the homeless. Hey, Austin, we've proved it. We don't give a shit about the homeless. Let's kick them out. Where to? They don't care. And it's all to the degree that people don't care. Democrats care enough to want people to vote, but they're not emphasizing homeless people. They're not considering it. They want people of color, and that's good.
I mean,
Republicans don't.
Adler is a Democratic mayor. He's the one that kind of bungled everything up.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, everyone has their kind of blind spots, and homeless is everyone's blind spot because we don't want to think about them. It's just a fact, man. And if you care about them and you're doing the things you're supposed to do and donating where necessary or helping with water and shelter, awesome. You're like one of 100 people that are doing that shit in any given city because they're underfunded, underappreciated. And we know this, and we don't care. So...
Well, I was just going to say, speaking of people doing stuff in the city, I mean, have you ever registered people to vote?
I've done that in college, yeah. I got just a stack of papers and just walked up to kids, and we have a place where people walk through. UT has one very similar as well. It's like a big alleyway where people set up booths and stuff. I've done it before. It's been a while since I've done it, just because life and complaining. It's easier to complain than to do stuff. No, I mean, that's anytime I don't do anything politically active I should be. It's because complaining is easier, and that's why I didn't do it. And that guilts me into wanting to do more stuff.
I can't register people to vote. You need to be a deputy or something like that. But there is a really cool group here in San Antonio called Radical Registrars, and they go to like bars, like anywhere that there's people, and like they'll go and just be like, "Are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote?" And they're really on top of it, and they're really cool. The one thing that I do have, you know, some insight into is like with this past election cycle that I was working, I was learning that like, you know, for the viejitos, so with mail-in ballots, no one's supposed to help you. No one's supposed to be around to help you fill things out, point things out. Like it's 100% illegal.
Right.
And you can get in major trouble for that. But it is such a hassle to get a Spanish mail-in ballot.
Right.
Like you have to go specifically to the, you know, elections office. And that at that point, like, let's just say like you're like us and like you're trying to, you know, register, you know, get people to vote, you know, handing out mail-in ballots. They would only give us 2 Spanish mail-in ballots. We would have to go back every single time someone requested a Spanish mail-in ballot.
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
It was the most ridiculous thing. Yeah.
Right.
But you know, the English ones, stacks hundreds of them.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well,
I can only imagine why that would be the case. And that's what I'm saying. Shut up. You bastard.
I mean, the funny thing is, though, like, yeah, I do know that it's not as simple as this, but it's like you're still voting for names. The name's the same. It's not exactly how it works.
And I get propositions are letters.
Yeah.
But you have to read what this proposition is.
Look at Alyssa.
But like, what is
Alyssa?
it?
To be fair, I speak English. I have a degree, and I read some of those propositions. I don't know what the fuck they stand for. It's like, do you not want the not comptroller to not railroad the not public transportation?
And it's purposely done that way.
Of course. Right. And I'm like, I still don't know what a comptroller is. What the fuck is this?
No one knows what a fucking comptroller is. I don't even know what one is.
Is he a computer? Is he a controller? No. Comptroller.
I also just recently learned with this past election cycle that you don't have to choose. Like, let's just say, like, it's asking you for, like, to vote for a specific, like, I don't know, school board.
Yeah.
But you have no investment in that whatsoever. You don't have to just choose either name.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like,
skip
a personal fucking person and be like, I don't know any of these people. I don't know anything about this. I'm going to skip this question.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
People skipped voting for president in 2016. That's kind of where that I need to learn about that one.
I did it for mayor this time around, so.
What is it? Like at least 2% of the population votes for Mickey Mouse every election. It's like 1.2%. It's really small, but Mickey Mouse.
They got a lot of votes in 2016.
Do you remember when D's Nuts was in the polls? That shit cracked me up. That was 2016. I want to go back to those times where hijinks was around.
You want to go back to Trump winning?
No, pre. That hope that we had was like the hubris that we had where it's like, nah, he's never going to win. Whatevers. And here we are inside for day 533.
And I don't know, I'm sorry, Marcos, if you were gonna get into this, but that's what fucking scares me about all of this, you guys, is that once these more restrictive voting, laws are in place and Trump's gonna run again, the next election cycle, it's gonna be a fucking shit show.
He's gonna be in jail within the next half a year, I hope.
You think so?
So.
I don't believe so at all.
I know that you're going to list out a laundry list of crimes. He has done those, but I want to remind you that Bill Cosby walked free yesterday.
Right, but I'm talking about not him doing anything in the presidency. I'm talking about IRS tax shit.
No, that's what I mean. They all commit crimes all the time. They just find a way to get out.
I read something today where I read the guy is on Twitter. It's not on the fucking peer reviewed journal, but he was just yeah, everyone can just pull their money because if he forged documents or whatever, then they could just pull all their money and demand it immediately. He was yeah, most people can get around this shit, but if you break this rule, you're fucked. And so hopefully it comes to fruition. Who knows? Nothing has so far. I understand that, but
I don't have any faith in our justice.
That's fine. I mean, he also is probably going to die of a heart attack because of all the fast food and unhealthy he is. And he's elderly.
Man, Chris Christie survived COVID. That just kind of ruined my chances that them being unhealthy is going to kill them.
COVID almost fucking killed Trump, but he had the best care or whatever.
He was hopped up on actual steroids.
Well, Trump was given, yes, world-class experimental nanobots, but Chris Christie was given nothing, and he is even more unhealthy than Trump. He
could just be really portly. It's fine.
I just feel even at a Trump level or maybe even a national level, I'm sure Chris Christie would still have local connections to doctors.
Yeah, he probably got the best care in Jersey.
The best care in Jersey. Okay. I'd rather go to Piedras.
Because Mexican drugs are amazing.
By the way, I didn't know on this note, this just go off on a tangent for a little bit, that because of Cuba's embargo, they weren't given access to Pfizer or Moderna, so they made their own, and it's great.
Marcos, for the audience, please let them know that you're saying Pfizer ironically. Because I wasn't sure. You're yeah, Pfizer. I'm he's smart enough to know it's Pfizer, right?
No, it's Pfizer.
But if I had,
he is there.
But if
no, I've been, because I'm learning random Chinese and Mexica words once in a while. It just feeds how much English doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, English is dumb. I always say a lot of things are dumb. English is probably one of the dumbest things ever.
You say a lot of things are dumb.
Exactly, but English is probably one of the dumbest things ever. It's let's take every language and just take the worst parts of them.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Right. And other than the only thing they did right was they didn't gender any of the things like Spanish does. Where it's why is this table a girl?
Who knows?
Who knows?
So.
Right.
It'll be a law.
Right. But let's see here.
So, Alyssa, Sam's plan is to go to jail. Yeah. What's your plan for 2022?
My plan for 2022
on the scale of voting, what do you hope to accomplish, or what? I mean, and it can be from any factor. It could be I'm going to go register voting. Just even motivating people to vote, I feel is going to be harder in 2022.
Why do you say that?
Well, Alyssa agrees with me, so you can ask her.
Why do you both think that?
Because no one has faith in the system. Nobody fucking wanted Biden, but Trump was the best option, or Biden was the best option apart. Like, it's like, it's always going to be a lesser evil type situation. And like, you could only fucking do that so many times before it's like, I truly just don't give a shit about this anymore. It's going to be bad all around. Like, bring on the fucking shit show.
But that goes back to my point of complaining. Yeah, the system works. It's just nobody's trying. I think the system does work in a way that it's stacked against you for sure. Like I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not even saying it's good. I'm not even saying it's barely feasible. But if you're counting on Bernie Sanders to save your ass, he's 1 billion years old. I love Bernie Sanders. He's got great ideas, right? But you're telling me that there's not a fucking 22-year-old that gives a shit? I know that they're economically fucking strifed and shit right now. Like they can't.
22-year-olds can't even run for Congress.
Right, but my thing is like, you gotta.
But let me put it.
You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game.
I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
But I literally, at this point in time, remember when the squad mattered? Like just a year ago, AOC, Ilhan Omar, they're not doing anything anymore.
It's not that they're not doing anything. Like, they still show up to work and like do things. It's just maybe not something that's getting like national news or things like that. But at the same time, it's like, and this is what I've learned from the 1 year. I'm speaking off 1 year experience in politics here. But after a while, politicians just get consumed by the chess game that is politics. And so someone who's once, in it for the community, you kind of lose sight of that after a while. Yeah. And, I'm a huge advocate in like doing everything that we can, small steps, baby steps, all for it. And so I'll play the game of the system. But at the end of the day, the system is rigged against us. It's, the system is set up for specific people.
Right.
And I just think that like focusing on community and like educating community to like everything, I just feel like right now, like the whole labor wage situation that's happening, and people are like, oh, people don't want to come back to work because the employment is so amazing. It's like, no, the fucking minimum wage has been the same for the past 12 years and people can't afford a living anymore. And now that they're on non-employment and are getting paid not a good amount, but more of an amount that they were making, why the fuck would anyone want to go back to that?
Right.
Like, and it's just like turning that mentality.
Right.
It's like, no, people aren't lazy. The system's fucked up.
Right. And so then the question goes, what are we going to do about it? And nobody wants to do anything about it, I feel. Like they don't want to vote. They don't want to participate in their community.
That's not necessarily true. Like, are you talking about like on a local level?
I'm more talking about young people mostly, because like old people vote. Old people vote all the time, and we millennials kinda, because we care. But like this whole idea that, oh, I don't believe in the system, so I'm just not going to participate. Then all you're going to do is just give it up for the people who are going to die in 10 years. And then those effects will bleed through forever. If you haven't learned from Trump that this shit matters, whether you care or not, then we get exactly what we fucking deserve. And that means we're going to melt in the sun. We're going to get stupid snowstorms and our energy is going to fucking explode because we're not going to be able to maintain the grid. And I'm talking about Texas. I'm talking about California. I'm talking about New York. I'm talking about now the Pacific Northwest. They care because they vote, the people are voting for the right people, I would think. But it's going to start getting into the South, and the South's going to start exploding, and more poor and disenfranchised people are going to burn.
South is going to start exploding. It's already been eaten away by hurricanes, like famously from Katrina already. Well, like it's been
right. No, but I mean that's just water. I'm talking about explosions. I'm kidding. I'm just being metaphorical, right? But that's what I'm saying. You prove the point that I wasn't even thinking about, right? Which is we're reaping what we're sowing, and everyone wants to complain and say that it doesn't matter, it doesn't work, and they don't want to fight for it. And it's violent and it's dirty and it's muddy, and you have to put your body on the line, I think, the way I'm talking about, like 60s style, like water hoses to the chest type of thing. But nobody wants to do it because everything's tied together. Internet lasts forever, so nobody wants to be thrown in jail because you can't get a job afterwards. Nobody wants to have the public embarrassment. Nobody wants to be degraded online for being caught with a mugshot for doing a protest, good or not. Nobody wants to get shot by a white supremacist who thinks that you don't deserve to live and get away with it, like in Wisconsin. There's a lot of factors.
Like maybe that's like your circle and who you're exposed to, but I know a lot of people who are like that, honestly, who do the work and who like dedicate their entire lives to it,
right?
And who have done amazing things for it. Like just the other day, like we're talking about, you know, Republicans and Democrats and everything, but at the end of the day, Democrats are going to be the fucking save all for everything.
Absolutely.
Has like their own issues and like
they're dumb.
Just the other day,
also dumb.
They hired a white woman who in like this very important executive position when this white woman has been working off the back of people of color for fucking years. And like this is a very important position within the Texas Democratic Party, but there were people that called her out on it who are, you know, at risk of like, you know, putting their jobs on the line, putting their reputations on the line, because once you're blacklisted in politics, you can't fucking work anywhere.
Right.
Like to do that, risk your entire reputation and everything that you worked for to call out this person to make sure that we don't have bad people in it is a really big thing. And like, yeah, okay, we don't have like water hose cannons and things like that at this point in time, but we do have people who are doing a lot, you know, who are out there. Like I know people who are out there at the Capitol sweating for like fucking 8 hours,
right?
With fucking Beto O'Rourke, who I'm not a big fan of, but they're still out there.
I was actually thinking about when you were talking about reputations being damaged and coming back. I'm like, Beto might be the closest I've seen to like completely ruin his reputation running for president, and now he's like back to being okay with all the footwork he's doing.
Right.
I think Stacey Abrams was the blueprint that Beto's trying to do. Not as good as her, but
right.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess the point I'm making is that, and this is honestly, this is part of politics, is part of the getting voting rights passed and stuff and we've been taught this the last, 5-6 years now. And this is going to sound sexist as fuck, but it's not. It's got to be sexy. Everything that you do activist-wise now has to be sexy. It has to appeal. It has to take radio waves and visual waves to the point where people want to be excited and enticed with it. Trump was a fucking chaos magnet, and people followed it. Stacey Abrams is a perfect example of someone who had a great narrative.
She's a good counterpoint. She's not sexy.
No, I'm not talking about the actual look of sexy. I'm talking about
that's what I meant. It's
narrative sexy. The narrative of her losing and coming back.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. Like, I think you're actually using the right person, but you're taking the wrong evidence from it. She didn't do it by being flashy. She did it by being boots on the ground and doing footwork. Like, she went into a lot of places. She went into churches. She went on the street to try to motivate them to vote. Like, it was grit.
Right. No, it was grit and hard work and dedication, but nobody knew until after. Right? Until the results showed,
I was
right?
following... but
we're exceptional. We care. We care. We're very, and that's the thing we have to separate, right? Is that, Alyssa, you're in this shit. You do the work. All the people, when I talk about the work I want to do and the work people should be doing, you're doing it. So, like, it's like, I'm not trying to put you down or anything or even dismiss it. It's more like you see it and you live it and you're about that action. So, and the people around you are about that action. Your culture, the people that you're around are all about that action. So, you've done it. You've done the political equivalent of just putting yourself in the right spot and being with good people who actually care. Marcos also is in that camp because you go back and forth between working real jobs and then working in politics, and like you're back and forth. It's whatever you find that you love. And then me, I just pick a thing and I just lock onto it and then just give money at it at this point. But most other people aren't in these positions. Most other people are just eating popcorn in movie theaters and listening to music and going about their day trying to survive. And so when they have, a couple of minutes to put their brain to news and to what's important, they're only going to get the headlines. Stacey Abrams makes the headlines because she did put in the fucking work and then had a great narrative to go around with it. With a lot of the stuff that we want to get pressed, like all these bills and stuff, they're not sexy. And I know they shouldn't be, and I know they shouldn't need to be. But that's why Biden's, like, everyone likes his policies for them generally. He's trying certain things, but everyone thinks he's boring and not doing anything, even though he's doing a lot of little things, right? Maybe not perfect.
I don't think Biden is, but that's actually the next topic. Where Biden is actually on the docket as well. Because by the time we get to that topic, it's going to be like, all right, we've been under Biden 6 months. Mm-hmm. Let's go. But that's actually another topic for another day.
But like, that being said, but that's what I'm saying though, right? I'm saying that it sounds fucked up. The water hoses were sexy. They're graphic and cruel, but they took airwaves over, and people were like, oh shit, maybe we are the bad guys for spraying these people down.
Yeah. So okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. And I don't know if I'm phrasing this in the right way.
That's fine.
But what radicalized you?
Oh, man. Because I've been aware of all of this stuff from a real young age. My dad was a union organizer since I could remember. Then my sister got into politics. It was radicalized. I guess the part where I had enough was student loans. Where if that was the thing that affected me personally, because before I stepped on campus, it went up to 32% my tuition. But I've been precinct walking since I was like 7. My dad's like, all right, we're going to go do this. I'm like, what are we doing? Fucking passing out flyers and shit. For what? I don't know. For what? I don't know. I was just doing it because he told me to, and he'd buy me food after. So
yeah, but sorry, I was just going to say, like, being in it, but like actually caring about it are, two different.
I've always cared about it. That's the thing. There's never been a part of my life where I didn't care and then I did. I've always had my ear to politics because I just grew up around it coincidentally. News was always on, 9/11. That was it. Once 9/11 hit, it was just like, okay, I got to start paying attention to this shit. Even though I was a weird ass kid watching the news, the morning news in the morning, like when I was in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. That's what I would watch in the morning. I just don't know why. I've always been in tune with the news, and I've always been in tune with politics because I watch the news. But I guess I'll flip it back to you. I'm curious. Well, I was just curious.
I was just going to say that so you were talking about why it's going to be harder to get people to vote. I feel like it's kind of the opposite. Yes, there are people out there fighting the good fight on the street, but it just doesn't feel like it's because when you talk about people need to throw their bodies out there, that was all last year. That was Black Lives Matter. That was all last year. That was literally people putting their bodies, their reputations, their lives on the line. That was all last year.
Right.
There were people in Washington and, Seattle that got taken, in those big old fucking Humvees that no one knew what, police station or sheriff station or even where the fuck that they came from that they still haven't heard of.
Right.
Or heard back from till this day. So, like, we don't know what happened to people.
ICE agents rolled into Oregon and they were just arresting people without badges and blank uniforms.
Right.
That also happened.
Right.
Like, I'm just saying that it has happened, but the reason that it's going to get harder to vote in 2022 is like, okay, we took that. We took all those ass whoopings, and I say the metaphorically.
Yeah.
And now it's like, but where's anything? Where is qualified immunity? Where is a voting rights bill? Where is, but
if you're saying that was effective, then right, if that was part of the equation of it being effective.
I'm not saying that it wasn't effective.
Right.
I'm saying that nothing is going to change in 1 year.
Right.
That if Trump comes back in 2024, that would mean that they lost 4 years ago and they kept that energy till 2024.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about. Is that I'm not talking about just taking the one ass whooping, because now one ass whooping don't do it. Disappearing people didn't do it, which is fucking insanity, which that's a whole different issue. But people give up. We're so and I say we as in I put this on my internal monologue of we want change so quickly that we're not willing to put in the actual work to make sure it's consistent and going. And Alyssa, you are right. But that's what like, because you see it. You see the people that do that, right?
That's not necessarily what I was going to say.
Okay, I know, but I just want to give you that credit.
Yeah, for sure. But like you have I'm trying to like.
You can hurt my feelings. It's fine.
You have let's just say we are all on the same side of what we want.
Always.
Okay, let's just say for the example of, I'm always going to go back to police accountability because I'll fucking scream that.
Of course. Yep.
With Fix SAPD, when I was working with them, it was about fixing the police at hand. Mm-hmm. So there were organizations that didn't want to get involved because their whole platform mission were about defunding, abolishing flat out getting rid of the police. So then being public partners with someone who's trying to technically fix the police department didn't fit. So it's like there's a whole lot of, it's a game of chess at the end of the day. And like, yeah, you know, in a perfect fucking world, we'll all put down our spears and like just kumbaya around and be like, hey, we need to unite against this one issue.
Right.
But everyone is so in tune with different issues that matter most to them. Because there are people like at the where it's like police accountability doesn't fucking exist. We can't have it. We need to just do away with the police. And I'm with that.
Right.
I'm 100% with that. But I want small steps. So I'm like, yeah, let's do, you know, let's work with Fix SAP. Let's do this and like the step in the right direction. So like, I totally understand that. And I definitely see what you're talking about in politics, where it's just kind of like, I'm not going to budge on my belief system. You know, and you're right. Like we do have to take things out of, you know, we have to take like the small steps and things like that.
Right.
But to like generally say like, no one's doing anything about it. They are. It's just very disorganized and everyone has different feelings and opinions about things. So like coming to like a very collaborative thing is very difficult because we try to function within a two-party system and like we shouldn't.
But right. And then part of that, just to go with it, is that the Republicans are able to unify at the very least. The Democrats want to hear everybody's different opinion about how we defund or get rid of the police. And at the end of the day, Republicans are like, yeah, that's scary. And they're able to be like, yeah, defund the police. That means you want criminals in your home killing your babies. And they unify under that crazy talking point, right? And then going back to it's not sexy. It's not sexy to say defund the police because it's scary to people. Everybody has that trigger like, oh no. And then if you talk to them about what you're actually meaning, they're probably about it. But because I would say just the left in general has a terrible marketing system that they don't know how to convey those images. They shoot from the hip so much for the things they're so passionate about. And the things are probably right on. But they don't know how to sell it to the majority of people that don't want to give up those beliefs. So they have to play a game of chess, and they're trying to play like Yahtzee, where they just roll a dice on the board, and it's like...
I was about to say, they don't do it, and it's not because they don't know how, it's because it's complex, and to be conservative is simple.
Right.
If it's, if you're a conservative and you're on the right side, you say, hey, I think people should get in the right way. And then that's it. That's all they need to say, and it's a simple message point. If you want to counter that, you have to bring up so many examples, how blah, 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 the green card system, how it's a lottery, how it's this. And then it's so complicated that the paragraph is just lost over. Yeah, but do it right. And that's how every issue works.
See, my idea in my brain is, all right, give them funding to do it right. That's the perfect counterpoint.
And that's the thing. Like, you can have the funding to do it right, but you need the right, I guess what you want to say, chess players in the right time where it's going to benefit them.
Right.
And they then put it out in there. And like that's why politics is so messy. And I do want to come back on your point on what is sexy. And as far as like the water cannons and things like that, just if you were to see, like, okay, we saw Columbine. Mm-hmm. We saw a bunch of other fucked up shit.
Yep.
You think that seeing people being sprayed with water cannons would have the same effect as it did when people were watching this in the 1950s and 60s? We are so desensitized by trauma porn that, like, you can watch a black man die and, like, you are able to just go about your day and, like, do whatever you want.
Not the last time. The George Floyd, as imperfect as that thing was, I mean, 15 years ain't shit. That did. George Floyd, that got a cop off, like, in jail for the first time in forever. So here's my terrible counterpoint. You have to see it. All the police shootings, they're all the way because they don't want to show it because it's a person losing their life. Breonna Taylor, the guy who got shot in the back. It's all blurry, fuzzy, whatever. And you can take the clips, edit it, and they usually edit it before the event happens, right? That's on purpose because they don't want to show violence, and especially like what's the one with the kids, the little children, Sandy Hook. Uh-huh. You didn't see any kids die. which I'm not saying it's fake. They fucking happened. Just don't take that in context. But you saw them with their hands on each other's shoulders, crying, the teacher's crying, but you didn't see the fucking kids. And so that's why in my brain, this is the worst morbid part of my political media brain, is because you didn't see it, you can't care. And people are able to go move past it. It wasn't until they actually saw the guy crying for his mom with the guy on his neck, with the camera in high definition, that it finally got to people, because we are so desensitized. And why they showed it as long as they did, I don't know. I don't know why they showed him dying for so long until they were like, we're not going to show it anymore, which is about 2 days. But that's all it took. And now we have a cop in jail for doing something that a billion cops should have been in jail for already. It's gruesome and it's ugly, and I hate saying it, but that's something I feel. And feelings may not always be right, but that's how I feel.
No, what you're saying is actually reality. Like, that is, it's reality.
Right.
It's 100% what's happening.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it right. We should
nothing's right about that.
People die in order for them, like, for us to care about them. And, like, I agree with you to an extent, but, like, the where I'm coming from is just kind of like, people have to go through some fucking shit, man. Whether it's health, whether, you know, it has to do with education, whether it's like immigration status, you know, you're involved in like, someone has to fucking go through something in order to care about it enough to like make it a cause. And like, this is very dark and morbid, but the way that our country's heading right now is a lot of people are about to experience something that they've never experienced for the first time. And we're seeing that now with climate change.
Yep.
And so I think we're at a point where people aren't going to have a choice anymore.
And that's what I didn't want to get to, because that's where fucking, and I'm not trying to be alarmist, but that's where Tommy's point would have been, which is riots and people in the street loot and anarchy. And it's not going to be everywhere. That's the thing that people don't get, is that when people are talking about anarchy, it's going to happen in major cities like Seattle, where it was like, what is it, the Poobah or whatever? What do they call it?
The autonomous zone.
The autonomous zone? Right.
Yeah.
Right. But everyone thought like, oh my God, pure anarchy. It's like a couple blocks, right? And that's fine. I like the way it works, right? At least conceptually. But it's a couple blocks. It's not going to happen in small town Idaho. It's not going to happen in Kentucky, because nothing happens in Kentucky.
I mean, it kind of does happen in the country with the
dudes
that refuse to.
Well, we don't want no federals here. Yeah, that's the crazy peoples. But I guess what I'm saying is, the the rent moratorium. A lot of people are going to get fucking evicted pretty quickly here. I mean, they pushed it off till September. Yeah. But when that expires, whenever they decide that expires, there's going to be a lot of homeless folk, regular people. And I don't mean to say that homeless folks aren't regular people, but I'm talking about homeless people being historically disenfranchised people, mentally ill, and veterans. These are going to be just people that probably even have jobs but can't afford their rent. And
you see that. Honestly.
And that's going to be to the nth degree, because right now there's rent protections, and unless they fix it, there won't be. And that's going to be a huge influx of people that are like everyday people like you and me that are like, oh shit, I'm homeless now, even though I did everything by the book. I didn't commit crime. I didn't do drugs. I didn't covet thy neighbor's wife. I didn't do all the commandments in the bad way. And that's going to be fucked up. The heat wave stuff, where people were $400 hotels. And so like the rich people were able to get their $400 hotels for like a Motel 8, and all the poor people were just dying in the heat because they have no AC.
Go off into a yacht.
One of our friends. One of our friends was like, yeah, it got so hot that my parents took a boat out and waited out the heat in the boat. And I'm like, imagine having a boat, let alone being able to just like leave your house, because like that's just the way it's going to be. And part of that is, in my opinion, to bring it back to the topic, voting is the one tool that everybody gets one of, for most part. Obviously, disenfranchised don't, prisoners don't. But that's the great equalizer. You can't buy votes as much as they try to. You can buy influence, you can buy advertising, but you can't buy the actual pen to paper or ink to whatever or Chad to whatever. And
They don't
that's
have hanging chads no more.
I know it was a 2001 reference, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I believe in voting, and that's why I will never stop believing in voting. It's just that's why you have to make it easier to. They're not gonna, but that's why you have to.
I will say honestly, there's been a little bit of a resurgence now that I'm finally in Austinite. Like it was just harder to do when it was like I might be living here in 2 years. I I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've been in Austin so long now that it's like, all right, and that's why I voted against the homeless, or the in camp. Voted for homeless's right to camp. It's almost like that goes back to the weird way they were worded.
Right.
Shit. But yeah, man, I'm trying to get. It's hard to stay informed. Like, that was a random election in like February. Like, people don't care unless it's CNN talking about who the next president is going to be all the time. I mean, going back, my only discussion about voting that outside of everything that we talked about was talking to Alyssa about how. So you hate Greg Abbott a lot. I'm not his biggest fan. The only person he's polling to lose against right now is Matthew McConaughey.
Because he's sexy. In the traditional sense.
Dude, I don't want this. I don't
either.
Celebrities to be our fucking politicians. Like, I'm fucking tired of this. We have Trump, we have Schwarzenegger. Like, now it's like,
see,
what the fuck is Matthew McConaughey?
I mean, what? Reagan was a fucking actor. He's terrible. No, but what I'm saying though, I guess, but you need a happy mixture.
He's also staying quiet about his politics. It's like, what do you believe, man? People are people, man. We gotta just get along. It's like, that's not
the ultimate fucking liberal. He's a centrist. Like, we don't.
But
again.
See, but that's why you got to get people that are like, and my favorite family, the Kennedys, because they were a mixture of.
They keep dying.
I know, and they need to stop.
I don't know why that.
And the newest one has a lisp, and he's a ginger, and nobody likes gingers or people with lisps. So, or he doesn't have a lisp. I think he has a speech impediment. The newest, the red-haired one, the handsome one, handsome as hell, talks just like a Kennedy. Put too much lip gloss or whatever on, not lip gloss, chapstick on his lips during the rebuttal for one of the debates, and he fucked up his whole chances. And he does have like a weird speech impediment. You could tell he's working on it. But otherwise, I like the Kennedys because at least Bobby wasn't a looker, but John was. And John knew how to speak. He had the policy to back it up, and people liked him. Obama, same type of thing. If you disagree with his politics, yes or no, he did a majority net good, I like to say, and he was charming as all fuck. That's why people still love him. Bernie Sanders, strangely, he's charming as shit. He's not handsome traditionally because he's an old man, but he's charming, he's smart, he knows what he's talking about. He's very likable. That's part of this new culture where people aren't motivated by policy, even though that's what benefits them. They're motivated by, can I get a beer with them? That's why Bush won. It's not like it's a new thing. And
I feel like we're on the edge of that. I feel like if we just keep electing celebrities, we're going to get to the point of no fucking return. So it's like, I feel like we need to like just fucking get away from that as far as possible.
But like Marco Rubio, people are boring. Why not have the yelling guy who seems exciting? He's an evil. Shit. Yeah, I'm just saying, but like he's boring, and Ted Cruz is never going to be president because he's boring. I know you believe Ted Cruz has a chance. I don't think he has a chance because he's boring.
Ted Cruz.
What?
Yeah, dude, he has a way of sneaking his way to the top. He's praying that Trump doesn't run in 24, but I mean, we'll see. I know who the sexy Republican choices are. It's Tim Cotton, but that's not something that we want because he's Trump's politics, but he's actually smart.
Right.
Unlike.
Well, that's why you need a Democratic reversal, Uno reverse card, but we don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. So.
I mean, that's what the squad try to be, but I don't know. Apparently AOC has passed like 2 bills. Like, it's not great, her track record in Congress.
Yeah, but she's loud and is able to mobilize, which is her biggest advantage. And loud, I mean in the proper way, not like, oh, she's being a hussy for being too loud. No, I don't mean that. I'm just saying she is able to communicate to abroad. She has a mastery of social media that others don't. I mean, she's playing Twitch, for God's sakes, with Pokimane, and whatever they were talking about, people were watching. It was one of the highest like stream things in like the year or the month at the very least. So
people politics, and that's really important.
Yeah, so that's her role. She's the 6th man of the year type of thing, right? She's not going to score the most points. She's not going to win you the game, but she's going to make sure you stay in the game every step of the way. And that's why it's good for her to be critical of the Democrats, because she calls out stupid shit when they're being dumb. Like Dianne Feinstein, she's awful now. Everyone used to love Dianne Feinstein out of California. She was great. Now she's a fucking moron.
I liked her.
Well, that's,
Fuck her and Kamala. But
damn.
something that you're saying is right, Marcos. But like you also have to look at like AOC. Like she doesn't only have like the Republican Party. She is the fucking target for that shit.
That's true.
Like anything, and like she's even the target for fucking Democrats because she's so critical of them. So for her to try and get anything passed is going to be extremely difficult because she not only has the entire Republican Party against her, she also has some Democrats against her as well. Right. So it's like it's really hard for her to get anything, I guess,
going.
Possible. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a 100%, 1,000% valid point. Fucking Latinas, man, they just can't catch a fucking break.
Tell me about it.
I was telling you about it, Alyssa, just to remind you. I'm kidding. That's cruel and unfair, but
I mean, it's gotta. We're all talking about having that perseverance to keep going. That's what we're trying to get to, and
Absolutely.
And then it's just a struggle, and it takes a lot of being informed. But I think the only thing that's going to help you is being able to talk to people at different levels. And it's hard. It's really hard to just, like you were bringing up people, the people that watch TV, like the people that are, I don't know, watching Loki or they aren't paying attention to politics. They're just, nah, man, I'm just chilling. I'm vibing through life.
Right.
You got to be able to make stuff matter to them. And honestly, Trump kind of made it easy. But when you go 2 or 3 strokes level, you got to be able to cite bills and see what's happening. Because I do know, to the average idiot, yes, Biden is doing nothing. To the average person, it's like, no, he's done these executive orders, and he's tried to do this, and he's tried to do that. Whether you agree or disagree, it's like, if you're knowledgeable, yes, there's meat there.
Right.
It's
just like healthy. It's like chicken breast that's like lightly seasoned. It's like, yeah, it's sustenance, it's protein, but I kind of want the fried chicken sandwich because it's tasty and it's got mayo on it and it's pickles. It's on a brioche bun, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, and I think, like, you know, things that don't pass and like the efforts that like politicians like actually do is also newsworthy, and I wish our media would like cover that a little bit more. Like, I know a lot of different, you know, local council people that have tried pushing, you know, really what some people would call like socialistic bills that like encompass like things like healthcare, you know, art programs and things like that, but never make it on the docket because they can't even get an entire other person to sign off on this, and they need 3 other people to sign off on it.
And that's why I think the next bastion of getting movement on for voting is, once again, and will always be, social media. Now, social media is cutting back on a lot of politics stuff. It's cutting back on a lot of lying. Good thing you don't have to lie when you're talking about making sure people vote. It's tried and true, honest. Hey, guys, if you vote for this, or if you get support for this piece of legislation, or this idea, I think that's how you got to do it. And that would be my approach. Like, you talk about losing hope and the relentlessness that you need to keep with these types of things. You can schedule social media posts for 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a day. And yeah.
I mean, you know how fucking hard it is to run a political ad?
I'm running I know. It's hard running a fucking Mexcellence page on Instagram with no focus or anything like that. Let alone with a focus unified between 12 people.
I had to send my ID and a bunch of other shit to Facebook to like, in order for me to be an approved person to run political ads. It's a fucking nightmare. But you're right, and it's extremely important, and I think like a benefit in a very terrible way that, you know, young people have is like the ability to do that, because there's so many people who are like, why does my ad keep getting rejected? I just want to run this political ad. And it's like, well, did you go through this entire process that takes months? No. Okay, well then you probably can't run ads this election cycle because it literally takes months to get approved for this shit.
Right. And
bro, I raised money for Bernie Sanders, and then it was like, all right, most of it is gone in fees that we need to pay in order to make it to Bernie Sanders.
Right. Also, you know all this red tape to get this political ad going? That's what it's like to get your papers at the border. And then they're like, it happened to me. No, it's completely not the same, but...
Oh, yeah, no, it's worse at the border. I meant not...
Oh, that's what I'm saying, though. As I'm saying, you think this is bad? Imagine waiting 10 years to get rejected for citizenship. Hip-hop hooray. And, you know, like you said, it has to happen to them. And I think that the scary part is that the thing, like you mentioned, Alyssa, the things are going to happen to the people, whether they like it or not. The global warming shit, you can't watch TV when you got no power because the heat burned your fucking generator. You can't watch Loki when the cell towers are exploded. You can't go on the internet and do all your internet things when your Wi-Fi's down because the little concrete melted the fiber internet in the fucking ground, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's getting really bad.
Copper gets hot. Does copper get
Sadly,
hot?
Yes.
Yes.
Copper is used for insulation. Sadly, Alyssa missed the media Mongrel Radio episode. She was out saving San Antonio.
Right.
Yeah.
It all goes back.
Or forward.
Or
Which is what we're
forward.
trying to do.
Or forward.
But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this afterwards, about what our schedule is going to be for the next month, because I already wrote it. But, yeah, guys, I think that pretty much sums all this up.
Vote! That sums up mine.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you're gonna complain about shit, if you're gonna write a fucking Facebook post about something or like tweet about something, and I ask you if you fucking voted and you haven't, you're a shitty fucking person. If you have the ability to vote, because there are people who do not have the ability to vote, and I am not talking about you. I am talking specifically to the people who have the privilege to vote.
Right. And if you want to complain about something, make a podcast called The Mexcellence and stream it every other day on twitch.tv/The Mexcellence or a like link or quality. Because that's what I did, and I get to complain all I want. Marcos,
Well, guys-
Marcos, Mr. Moderator, what do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel great.
No, I meant about voting, you fool.
No, so I also feel great. I have been fighting the idea of trying to get people to vote for a long time. I've been a student of politics since Bill Clinton and Ross Perot, so forever ago.
Right.
That being said, I mean, I know what it's like, and it's an uphill battle. But I mean, what's the name of the dude that rolls that rock uphill for eternity? That's just who I am.
Sisyphus?
No.
Yeah, it's Sisyphus. I'm almost sure of it.
It is Sisyphus.
Ha! Greek god win. It was in a rap lyric. That's how I remembered it. But anyway. But yeah, Sisyphus rolls the rock up the hill and then just rolls back down. He's got to do it all over again.
Well, Alyssa, you got anything else to say to motivate people to vote?
Yeah, this is wherever the fuck you are. This is probably affecting you in some way, shape, or form because all the states have some kind of voting legislation in court right now. So see how you can support your local organizations that are doing everything they can for you.
If you vote for the people I want you to vote for, I will give you $500 to show proof that you did it.
Oh my god.
That's a lot of money. You'll be broke after 3 people.
It's illegal also to take pictures in your booth, so I would just pay out to the people who didn't do that and just told me. It's by the honor system.
Bribe people to vote, but I mean, whatever.
It's not a bribe. It's a super PAC
Incentive.
donation. Like in Mexico,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
a gift card to Chili's.
I actually don't know how those incentives are legal when they're like, hey, here's a free beer if you show us your I voted sticker. But whatever.
That's different because like it's not like it's just the I voted sticker. It's not necessarily.
Bro, I would steal a whole thing of those just to go get free drinks that day.
But there's only one bartender at these breweries.
No,
They're
but
just gonna see you come back, and you're very noticeable at a 6'5" frame.
You can go to different bars.
There's only a handful of bars that do it. Not every Chili's will do it, so to say.
Then you call them un-American and you flip their tables over like Jesus would.
Or you go to Duke 512 and find all the bars that are running that special promotion.
But is there a Krispy Kreme? I never got my free donut, by the way, for getting my shot.
Well, you definitely can't get it for a shot that's stamped in March.
Or could you?
I could. It says if you show your vaccination card, you get a free donut every day.
You get a free donut whenever the light's red.
Oh.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
I don't know the tricks. I'm not that fat. I am fat, but I'm not that fat. Also, Krispy Kreme's kind of gross, I'll admit.
I was a broke college student. Krispy Kreme was there.
Taco Bell is my broke college student. Love you, Taco Bell.
All right, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
That being said, you can catch Alyssa tomorrow if you're in San Antonio. She's doing a DJ set.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck! I totally forgot about that. Yes, tomorrow is Friday. I will be at
Oh my god.
with my partner Veronica. Strawberry Gems. We're there every first Friday. If y'all want to come check it out.
Ooh, and then you can find me at Ron Funch's comedy show tomorrow, because that's what I'm doing tomorrow. But you can find me at the Mexcellence on all forms of social media, _Mexcellence on Instagram. But guess what? Follow the Mexcellence official on Instagram. We need more people there. And yeah, that's where all of our postings are going to be. And yeah, also, next episode, next Tuesday, after our long holiday weekend. I'm so happy I get Monday off. That's such a treat. Top 5 summer blockbusters. This is going to be a fun one. So, Marcos, where can they find you in the meantime?
Type JLMarco62 into anything. That being said, we may have an episode Monday. We'll let you guys know.
What?
Follow our Instagram. May.
What?
Sorry, bro.
I'm so tired.
We may.
Tired.
We may not.
This is
We
look
may be home
at this face.
We may be home in our chones.
Why did you put a French accent on it, like a acento, like chones? they're not Pokemon. I'm tired. Let's get out of here. Bye.
All right, bye.
Playing the music. Playing the music. Playing the music. Playing the music. Boom.